Revealing some information here. It's always interesting to see how the spirit of Ahaya works. And it's powerful, and I'm going to break some things down. I want to go do that before we go into the teaching today, before we go to the Hebrew word of the day, because it's very important to understanding the mark of the beast. We saw the previous teaching that we did on the mark of the beast, how profound it is, and we are right there at the precipice of everyone being chipped and everyone being under the spell. And after the civilization, it was wounded, dark ages, collapsed. And let's pick it up from verse 14 and 15. Let's read that.
Genesis chapter 3 verse 14, and he reads, And Alahayim said unto the serpent.
Said unto the what?
Said unto the serpent.
We know the serpent is Nakoshi, which is the satanic force, the spirit that is so prognosticative, that is so full of science, that is so full of esoteric knowledge, mystery school. He's so full of, that's the dragon. He's so full of technological, inventive, creative inventions on the left side. This is Kabbalah at its best. It's so full of this modern science that your world is building. When you break it down, observation, scientific experimentation, that's what it tells you in the Hebrew. What is he saying to him?
Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Now listen to verse 15.
And I will put enmity.
I will put what?
Enmity.
War, friction, hatred, battle, division between who?
Between the woman and thy seed.
And we know who the woman is, so I don't have to go into it. The woman is Israel, Allah, that is chosen. And thy what?
And thy seed.
Those seed is Zara in Hebrew, which is a bloodline. The woman has her own bloodline. Serpents have his own seed in this earth. The elites that are controlling this earth. Amalekites. The Illuminati. The Bilderbergers, the powers, the European fake Zionist powers controlling this earth. And thy seed, come on.
Between the woman and thy seed, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
So there's a bloodline. Serpent has his own seed in this earth. They are ruling this earth, and we saw how they made it all the way to the top already, and they're battling against us. The woman is Israel. Christ is the head seed that will bruise them. Everywhere in the Bible, how Christ coming to bruise and crush in the final analysis. Amazing. So when you go back there, down to Allah, chapter 2, the serpent has his seed, and then by Genesis chapter 6, he shows you how he's battling. How was he battling? By creating his hybrids. Hybrids, which is in Genesis chapter 6. Stay where you are in Daniel. Let me read Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6, you've seen that many times, talks about hybridization. And he said, and there were giants in the earth in those 8, chapter 6, verse 4. And also after that, when Bene Alahayim came in unto the daughters of men, which is Bata, Adam, and they bare children for them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And Alahayim saw the wickedness of men, that it was great in the earth, and every imagination of his thought was of his heart was evil continually, like it is today. There is some entity that is behind causing the evilization of the world.
That's right.
Not civilization, but rather evilization.
That's right.
There is an entity that does that. But no one identifies it. But the Bible clearly does. So here you see how he began to put his seed in man. And when we went through the whole book of Daniel, it did not happen again after the Mosaic put this to stop until American civilization. Rome and American civilization. So let's go back there again. Read it. And that's what you're seeing here. And the Holy Spirit had to stop me, and I'm going to go to break it down now so we can get understanding. Let's read it.
So Revelation.
No, now you back to Donald Allah, right? Chapter 2, verse 40, verse 43. In the fourth beast now, let's read it.
I got to get there.
So while he's getting there, I'm going to go to the Hebrew to show that as well. Because, and we saw the article, I have that article here that actually shows you the genetic manipulation, how they're going to do that, how the technology is here. They've already accomplished what they're looking for. When George Bush came, in the 90s, was it the 90s or the 80s, and said that basically declaring that, in fact, in your dollar bill, they said they've already accomplished their order.
New World Order. Mm-hmm.
It's a big idea. Bush said it was a big idea. That's Bush Senior. A new world order. A big idea. That's a statement that he's saying when he make that statement. A grand idea from of old.
Yep.
Amazing. Let's read it.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. And
Verse 42.
Verse 42 says, and as the toe of the feet were
I'm sorry, yeah, you were right. Verse 43. Correction. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 43 says, and whereas thou sowest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
With the what?
With the seed of men.
With the what?
With the seed of men.
You saw that? Men have their seed, which is the word man is Adam, seed of Adam. So something is going to happen to our bloodline. But who are they that is speaking about? Now you know, there's only one day. The only one day is Sotano, which is Satan, with his empire, trying to do it again and recreate what happened. Christ said, as it was before the flood, so shall it be at the what? The coming of the Son of Man. Same thing. They will infiltrate our bloodline. That's what's going on. So be careful who you give your blood. Be careful what happens in these hospitals when you go to see them. Be careful with the blood bank. Be careful what you receive. So they shall mingle themselves with what?
With the seed of men.
Go ahead.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another.
But it's not going to be connected. So let's break down that thing now in the Hebrew, if you will. I'm going to break it down now in the Hebrew. So here you're going to have the most powerful thing that shook me, that this is what's going on. It's very relevant that we pay attention to this thing, because like we saw the president, vice president saying that, mark my words, you will make a decision on this. That decision has been made through the judicial branch and the executive branch already by executive order. Obamacare already been made now, and we have something so serious. So here you go. This is an article here that talks about it. I have an article here. We read that before, how the bloodline of Satan will be mingled with that of the woman. It's called the recombinant DNA. We've seen it before. A technology known as a recombinant DNA is in fact now makes it possible for a grown man or woman to be altered at the genetic level. If a non-human gene were introduced into the human genome, then the person will no longer be fully human, but would be, by definition, become a hybrid. What is a hybrid? A hybrid is a Nephilim. A Nephilim. Amazing. The ancient name for the creature that is composed of different kinds is known as a chimera. That is also the name given to hybrid creatures by scientists today. We consider the word chimera. The interesting thing when I research the word chimera, again you have the same word chi, which links to Chiyawa, a civilization linking to the image of the beast. Incredible. Now, powerful enough, when you go back to study about chimera, it links back to the Greeks and the Romans. And there was a chimera donkey or chimera animal which has a mixture of, you can have a human being that have a horse leg, or you have a man that has an animal body parts, and they call it a chimera, which is a hybrid. Amazing. Says here, we consider some strange creatures in various chapters, such as the spider combined with goat, and the green flowering pig, to name a few. See there? Recombinant DNA is hybrid DNA that has been created from more than one source. The basic procedure is where a DNA strand is opened up and then a new gene from another organism is inserted, making a new strand of DNA. The RNA, that's the ribonucleic acid, if you will, that does the replication in your DNA. It says the RNA replicates the new strands and it is passed into the entire system. When the recombinant DNA is then further altered to change the host additional strands of DNA, the molecule formed is referred to as a chimeric DNA molecule, which reference to the mythological. It's not mythological. It was real. Because they make everything mythological. It wasn't myth. Because it did happen. It was real. These men of renown did happen according to scripture and book of Enoch. And all the scientific excavation that are being discovered in the earth today. But they hide it under Greek and Roman myth. This stuff is real. So it says here, referring to the mythological, so we can calm us down, we can actually continue to embrace what they're doing and experimenting scientifically. So it says here, when recombinant DNA is, it says here, recombinant DNA is a hybrid DNA that has been created from the more than one source. The basic procedure is where a DNA strand is opened up and then the gene from another organism is inserted, making a new strand of DNA. Then the RNA replicates the new strands and it is passed on to a new entire system. When recombinant DNA is then further re-altered or changed to the host additional strands of DNA, the molecule formed is referred to as a chimeric DNA molecule, which refers to the mythological chimera that consisted as a composite of several animals. See that? Several animals' DNA molecules. Listen to what he says. By means of recombinant DNA, Satan may be able to convince humanity to insert demonic gene perceived as desirable into the human genome and genetic combination of the person. Therefore, will result in that person becoming a chimera. That's why the person could not be saved. When you change this, when you receive this stuff, you are in deep trouble. So this is how it works. You have the recombinant gene. I hope you can see that. Here, there's a crack right here, if you will, and this is called enzyme recognition cilia. So you have enzyme recognition cilia or cili. They actually use an enzyme. This is called a plasmid. This is called a plasmid. in science, how they study it. But what it does is that it goes deeper to understand this. So what it does is simply the recombinant gene will come in like this and break off. It's going to break off like here. It's going to break off, and this was called a foreign, and then basically this is a plasmid. It will break off a part of your gene or DNA, and then they're going to create what you call a recombinant gene. A recombinant gene will come in and then fit in the gap. This is a foreign, what you call a foreign DNA. Foreign DNA. And then when it brings it in, it comes in right here and then fits in the gap. So here he tells you, and the whole cell will function because now it will control the whole cell in replication processes. So it says here, in the late 1970s, Dr. Stan Cohen, so using the recombinant DNA, a fully mature man could inject himself with selected gene or genes of another species, the process which is really just a matter of copying and pasting, exactly what I did. You copy this and you paste it right here. Copying and pasting this explained by T. Wakaya, and that's essentially what the doctor here explains it. In the late 1970s, Dr. Stanford studied antibiotic-resistant plasmids in E. coli, and also Dr. Herb Boyer, a lot of them are Jewish, UCSF, studying restricted enzyme because they use an enzyme to actually do the addition. It says here, realized that they could use restricted enzyme to cut both plasmid DNA as well as the DNA containing a gene of interest and combine with the DNA so that the sticky end of a DNA could be joined or spliced to make a recombinant gene that is a bacterial human. And it continues, therefore we can see how a man with access to technology and Satan's seed could be merely injected into his DNA. Then once inserted, his own RNA will replicate the new strand. Exactly. So your RNA will take a copy and begin to replicate there, and if that does, it changes your genetic composition. Amazing. And this can be introduced through a microchip. It can be introduced through a syringe. It can be introduced through even vaccines. And it says here, I'm taking time to break this thing down because we need to be truly informed of the implication and what this means, because the Bible put a lamplight on it. That's why I'm putting a lamplight on it today. Because the decision has already been made. Very soon, it's going to be mass produced. It's going through beta testing right now. Very soon, you will receive it if you don't have this knowledge of truth. That's why the Most High stopped me and told me, look at that again. And I'm looking at it. My American father sent it to me, and I didn't get it completely like I'm getting right now. I had to talk to him afterwards. When I saw that, I was blown away. I called some of you and told you, and I called him. He lost it. I lost it. Amazing. So he says here, approximately, he talks about the marks here. And it was allowed to be, it talks about also, it is the image of the beast caused it all to be marked, to receive the mark on the right hand. Let me get straight to the point. They say, transhumanist and end-time researcher Tom Horn has written a great deal about the coming consequences of a man changing himself, as we talked about the transhumanist. This is a transhumanist agenda. So all this hocus pocus, gory, euphoric information about how we can become machine is tied into that the transhumanists are actually projecting, which we know is supported by United Nations, is supported by Obama. He's a pure transhumanist. Is supported by American government. Is supported by World Health Organization. Is supported by what you call the FDIC that approves all your patent. FDA. They all support this stuff. That's the direction that we're going. It says here, the transhumanist and end-time researcher Tom Horn has written a great deal about the common consequences of man changing himself as the source code. Yes, I'm involved in technology. In fact, that's what I do. And that's exactly what we call it in technological requirement. Here is what you call a source code. It's called a source code, which basically speaks about a DNA is a code. It does coding just like you do with the biometrics. In biometrics, which is the mark of the beast, www, the binary number that I told you already, the binary number is a source code. If you change the code, it changes the system. Whatever happens with it, for example, any computer system that you get, if you want to, even if you're doing what you call computer programming, because that's also the field that I work in computer programming, if you want to change the whole system by rewriting the contract or rewriting the functional requirement or the functional use of that system, you have to go back to the source code and change that, and then that will transform the whole system. And that's what is about to happen, brothers and sisters. It's not a new thing. This technology has been in use in computer, it's used on your cell phones. All your top companies use their Sony uses it. You know, I can name all of them. And so does in biological systems. They learn that from biological systems, not just in technological systems. Because this is what I do. Amazing. Amazing. So here he tells you that, says here, so they suggest that recombinant DNA may be the means by which the mark of the beast is introduced onto an unsuspecting world through the rewriting of one's DNA so that the person is no longer fully human but a part beast, Antichrist. The suggestion appears valid in light of all that we have learned. Presumably, some point after the rapture, you know, this guy believes in rapture. As we know, rapture is the deception. Anyway, I think you get the gist now. You actually get the gist. So when we go back to Daniel now, let's look at Daniel now. Daniel chapter 2 verse 43 now. You're going to see that now coming together. Everything is now coming together. That's why the Holy Spirit says, stop right here. I looked at it. I didn't get it. And I got it. I knew because I broke it down last week. But this week, we went a little deeper. And the article that I received was the secrecy of Babylon that was sent to me from Florida. And when I went back to look at that, I was like, oh my goodness. And it talks about this exact same thing, confirming the truth from a whole different angle. Let's read it.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 43. And whereas thou sowest iron mixing with miry clay.
Iron mixed with what?
Miry clay.
Miry clay. You know what a miry clay is? An iron. That's what got me, because the spirits has been fighting against me for a while. Most has given me a gift to discern the spirits, even the so-called alien. When I come in contact with them, I actually discern them and they smell like metallic. You discern them as metal. And that's why you see the man machine that comes together is metallic object. Their DNA is like metal. And that immediately wrong at me. Their gene is metallic. That's why you see the transhumanists, they're using corruptible metallic objects to try to solve our problem, where we should be dealing with the incorruptible gene of Christ through the Spirit. So you have iron, which is the fallen angels. Because that's how when you have a discerning spirit, you will know. And from technology, you already know. Iron mixed with what?
Miry clay.
Now, what is the clay? The clay is biology. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. So he's showing you there's a foreign gene, in a plasmid, a foreign gene is actually the metal. A foreign gene is the metal. This is the metal. Is a foreign gene. Whereas thou sowest iron, or what you call iron, this is an iron or metal, or what you call a foreign gene from what? The fallen angels or aliens. Fallen angels or aliens. They are all the same thing, which is the bloodline of the Lucifer mixed with a miry clay. Let's find out who the miry clay is. Read it.
Genesis chapter what?
Chapter 2, verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 7.
Go ahead. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 talks about what is going to give you the definition of what the clay represents. Let's read it. I'm going to read it myself. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and it says, and the Most High Allah, which is Ononenu Allah, Ahaya Allahayim, formed man of the what?
Of the dust of the ground.
The dust of the ground. What is the dust of the ground?
Clay.
Clay. He formed man of the dust of the ground, the source. That way we get your DNA that is compacted by spirit, blood, and water that forms you as mankind, which is Adam. So he said, the Most High power formed man of the what?
Of the dust of the ground.
The dust of the ground, right there. The miry clay is the dust of the ground that was given life. Read on.
And man and breath into his nostrils.
And breathed into his what?
His nostrils.
Something happened to man, which is the eternal realm. The immortal came into a miry clay, the dust of the ground, that gave you your biology, but we are first spiritual. The dust of the ground, and what happened to that dust of the ground?
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Nruwachi, and what happened?
And man became a living soul.
Adam Haya Shinepeshi, a living soul. So what you're seeing is a definite proof what is coming by the power and the spirit of the Most High. What you just witnessed is a mystery uncovered. Science pulling everything together. And as I was reading the article that my American father sent me, he says here, he says, there's a place here he talks about RX connection. This is something that was there. I mean, all in front of us the whole time. It talks about pharmaceutical industry, how they're going to use pharmaceutical to inject this stuff. So there's no surprise about the Obamacare. It focuses, we know that word pharmaceutical or pharmakia or pharmacy links to witchcraft, which is, that's what the Bible, that's what is in Greek. Or simply witchcraft is pharmacy. Let me see if I can find a location on that article where it talks about exactly what I just broke down. Incredible. I continue with that. So when I went back to this article, and all of a sudden, it just dawned on me, because when I was looking at it, go back to Daniel chapter 2. In Daniel chapter 2, when he says, whereas thou sowest iron mixed with miry clay, which is the bloodline of fallen angels, mixed with miry clay, which is man, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man, which is the commingling, what you're seeing happening here, through what they're called DNA replication.
So it's basically telling you what it is. It's explaining itself.
It's telling you exactly what it is.
Wow.
The seed of man. But they shall not be together because it's foreign. It's a foreign gene being introduced. Incredible. Incredible. So there's also a place here where he mentions that in this article. I may not have time to pull out. When I went back now, after I got it, I went back. And when I begin to read this article, bam, it just hit me. I knew it, and I was just like, oh my God, this is what the most I was trying to give me before that teaching. And now we can understand it. So we wanted everyone. So when you go back to Revelation now, read Revelation now, now you can see what is coming. That's why we wanted the whole family. So we need to put this stuff on a limelight and warn all our families what is coming. It's already been prophesied. If the Bible can give you this stuff with exact precision, thousands of years, what makes you think that it's not going to come to pass? The churches need to know this stuff. Our whole family need to know this stuff. Because they are ready to receive the mark of the beast. If you already signed up to Obamacare, you are already set up for it. Incredible. Let's read it. Revelation chapter 13 and pick it up on verse 13.
Verse 13 says, And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, and did live.
And did what?
And did live.
And did live. Come on.
And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast.
So he has a power to what?
To give life.
To reinvigorate the image of the beast, which we saw is Satan himself, compared to the image of the Most High, Elohim. These are the conflict that we're dealing with. You will be recreated into a hybrid if you're not paying attention. The image of the beast, come on.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
See that? So this image is going to be speaking. So it's going to be alive in peoples now. Hybrids of Satan functioning in people and government and rulers of this earth. And people that you know that have already received it. And making it difficult for those that haven't received it, that changing laws already happening. Here he says in this article, I often refer to the deception wrought as the Antichrist delusion. The deluding influence of Elohim's saints can, to a large degree, be equated to the great city Babylon's pharmakia, which we know is pharmaceutical. The sovereign Elohim has ordained that it should be as so presented to accomplish his purpose of judgment. Don't fret about it. It is a good thing because ultimately judgment has two sides. It includes reward, and certainly we have had and even now received sufficient warning. The deception of wickedness for those who perish isn't explicitly defined in the passage, but it really does need to be. The subject is addressed throughout the scripture. Listen to what he says. The activities of Satan underwrites the proactive schemes with myriad strategies. Pharmakia provides the cover for this with powerful synergy as it works with a magical biological realignment towards genetic realignment. Amazing. It is the ultimate facilitation tool. The drug spells are unlocking doors and providing control levels and bases of control. Pharmakia lowers the natural resistance to the foreign ideas and image of Satan introduced so influential. So introducing so influential, what I mean by nature resistance is something imprinted into the nature of created being that establishes the basis for discernment and accountability. Speaking about the image of Satan introduced in our gene, the genetic realignment of all of us. Amazing. Amazing. Says here, the fact that this kind of transformation occurs is documented in the Bible Genesis chapter 10 verse 8 reveals that Nimrod began to be a great mighty one in the earth. The Hebrews began to quote mighty men on the earth. The Hebrew word is Chalal or Gibor, which you search out usage. These two words makes it very apparent that means he has denuded it, if you will, from the image of most side to Lucifer in a figure broken off through Adam, Lucifer and Adam the tree, and grafted into the serpent tree. This is intended. This is the intent of pharmacia to ungraft and regraft to facilitate a genetic realignment that will come through by the addition of a third strand of DNA. There you have it. This is what we are all faced with in this wicked world. This is what is coming. And the Most High, through the power of His Holy Spirit, revealed that to us. And we're able to put it all together and tie the loose ends. Amazing. You have to sit down and think about the implication. When we go back to Revelation now, let's read it now. Revelation
chapter
13 now, verse 15.
Revelation chapter 13 verse 15, and it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
Now you can understand what it means to give life to that image of Satan. Come on.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So if you now haven't received this stuff, you're going to be killed. So, and it goes with a lifestyle that will compel you to go receive it, because you want to maintain what you call to maintain your lifestyle.
Preservation.
Self-preservation. Thank you, brother. And it's easy. What am I going to do? How am I going to feed my children? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I have to go receive the mark of the beast. How can I get a job? No. Stop and think. What are you doing? Can I live by the Spirit first? Read on.
And he causeth all, both small and great.
Both small and great.
Rich and poor.
Rich and poor. That includes all of us.
Free and bond.
Free and what?
And bond.
Letting you know that still bound people are in bondage. The Israelites, come on, that are in bondage.
To receive a mark.
Receive a what?
A mark.
A mark, an etching in the forehands. Come on.
In their right hand.
In their right hand.
Or in their foreheads.
A badge of servitude. So this is something intrinsic. Go ahead.
And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Now we've already broken all this stuff down. Go ahead.
Here is the wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Which is Wada, 666 in Hebrew, the number of Lucifer that you see in all your products. You look everywhere. In Kabbalah, that's what it is. In numerology, Kabbalistic numerology, that's what it is. Look everywhere you see. All the products, computer system was built based on that. Yahoo, Yahweh, the Tetragrammaton links back to it. Jehovah, Yahweh, Yahuwah, all the gods that are controlling this earth using the globalists, the oligarchs of the earth, the European oligarchs. And then the same thing goes for you, the European. If you're European listening to this, it doesn't exclude you. This is not to come down on anyone. You have to, even the European have to speak true to their government and tell their people the truth, because this includes all of us. All the Gentiles, Arabs, the Chinese. You guys are actually galloping in this stuff, because the Chinese and the East Indians, they love technology. They love this stuff right here. And we saw the article, millions of people in India already receiving it. Same thing in China. They love this technology, which is from the beast. It's going to impact them. And then a lot of our people will be impacted too. Only those that are not in the knowledge of truth will reject it. Much rather die. Rather die. Rather die. Praise the Most High. So that's the mystery. There's so much more on it, but I'm just going to stop here because we can go back to the main teaching today, which is the Holy Spirit going into the breath of life. The breath of life is what we're going into today. Powerful teaching.